My story is no different from your story. I think my story started when I was young, at the age of 7. Because of the history of our country, I just found myself as a refugee in a neighboring country in Uganda. That's where I was born. And we lived in a poverty, our life was really hard. Poverty was so real. As any refugees in a foreign country, we were struggling. And what happened is, my dad, at the age of 7, I just noticed that though my dad was present, but he was an absent dad. Because my dad would disappear for years, and go to do business in Congo. And it would take him many years to come. So what happened is, Mom struggled alone, and we had an extended family of 9 children. Imagine a mother feeding a family of 9, struggling to make ends meet, to send them to school. It never worked out, We are just in a bad situation. So when I was 7, I remember my mom was a strong Christian. She would take us to church. It all started when one of the Sunday school teacher one Sunday started to teach us about God as a father. So I remember that time I had an argument with my teacher, my Sunday school teacher. She's still alive, though old. And I said, I don't want to hear anything relating God to as a father, because my experience of father is that fathers are bad. They are never pleasant in their children's life. And she would sit me and try to convince me about how God is a father. That one never clicked. I never, listened to her. And sometimes I would even go out of the Sunday school and come back when she had just concluded on those stories. And this thing started as a resentment, because one of my school, I had a friend in the Sunday school teacher who would always, every Sunday, he would narrate stories about how his dad is a good dad. He would tell me stories of how they were poor, but the dad was always pleasant. The dad was always there for them. And so whenever he would narrate those stories of the presence of the dad, the more my resentment would grow. So actually, this resentment turned into a trauma. I realized it later, some years, when I married, had children, and it started affecting my relationship with my children. Cutting the story short, my dad came back. And when my dad came back, actually, going back, whenever he'd come back from Congo, he would try to bring us some gifts. But I remember I remember rejecting all the gifts. Among the 9, I was the youngest. So whenever Dad would bring clothes, trying to make us feel good, I would say, I don't want your gift. I would even run and go somewhere not close to my papa. And I think my dad noticed that my relationship with him is having some issue. But, as a man, he would ignore that. So, coming back to me when I got married, I realized after having children, I just noticed that it had started to affect my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my children. I just felt that I needed help. And that was actually 2023. That's when I decided, I just felt I would feel tired. I had started developing some sicknesses. And I just realized that something is wrong with me. So I made a decision to go. My dad had come back from Congo. I'm very old, very sick, but I said, if I'm to continue, I need to face my fears and face my dad. My dad was a very well-built-up man, very strong. These old-style men, they don't want to sit with their children, even talk. So I had to face my fears because I wanted to start a journey of recovering. So I went, and I remember going through my mom, and mom to convince dad that I want to talk to him. And mom convinced dad and said, your son wants to talk to you. And dad said, I know. I'll tell him when time is ready. But I kept pestering my mother that I need this urgently. And mom convinced him that your son really needs to talk to you. So what happened? Finally, he agreed. And I remember we met somewhere. The first question I asked him was, Daddy, where were you all this wrong? And what actually turned as a healing process was when I asked my dad that question. My dad, all my years, I had never seen him crying, But when I asked him that question, he cried. And actually, I got terrified. I'm like, why is he crying? I've never seen him cry. So he cried like for 5 minutes and said, my son, I noticed that you're having an issue with me a long time ago, but I tried to dodge it. But I think now it's time to spill the beans and, talk. So he said, first of all, I want to say I'm very sorry. Because that is the first day in my life. Because when he said sorry, I never took it lightly. Even before, after that discussion, I went to talk to my elder brothers, and I'm like, have you ever in life seen dad saying sorry? They say, no, dad is a guy who never says sorry. So to me, that moment, I took it very vital. And dad said, and when he said, my son, I'm very sorry, I know one of the reasons why you're passing through this, it's because I was never present. And guess what? I also broke down in tears and started crying. So cutting the story short, Dad started narrating a story, reasons why he was never present. That he had gone to look for money, and me, that was not so convincing because we are living in abject poverty. Education was very hard, yet you are brilliant children who wanted to excel in education. Cutting the story short, that's where my journey of healing, when I reconciled with my dad. By the time he passed on last year, we are close friends. We would talk everything. And so when I finished talking to my dad and my dad apologizing me, it really changed the whole trajectory in my family. The way I was relating with my wife, the way I was relating my children, it changed completely. So this has been a journey. I'm still healing, but I'm now somewhere. Thank you.